I was shocked when ATWOLI was nostalgic about special branch and even wished that the government cracks down on social media. To him, that is the only way to curtail Gen Z. I hope that the president and the government are very careful, especially with people who would give drastic recommendations, and when the repercussions come, nobody will blame the Atwolis of this world. Just like his brother-in-law, Raila Amolo Odinga, Atwoli has mastered the art of joining the high table even when he supported the other side. Such people are prone to advising draconian moves by the government, since east or west, they will be in the next government. Many of us who genuinely support this government and country have no access to the government and the president. Coincidences of our uploads, which we usually air from time to time, are just that, coincidental. We don't even know that whether our uploads are the ones that influence the government, or together with others, they influence what the government thinking is, or is just a mere coincidence. You can talk of something, then the government does exactly what you have said, and you think that you are the one who influenced the government. Kumbe, the government is not even aware that you even commented on such an issue, or even you have an idea on such an issue. I see three things here which I want to comment. One is Gen Z, the other is NIS, and the third is social media. NIS is by far more better than special branch. There are two problems with NIS. When Boynet insisted that graduates only should join intelligence, maybe, just maybe, somebody did not know the difference between the two words which are spelled and pronounced in the same way. The word intelligence. Of course, during my training as a special branch officer, we were told that you need to be intelligent to join the intelligence. But then, intelligent and intelligence are two different things. Intelligent is somebody who is bright, somebody who can make a reasonable assessment and whatever. But intelligence is the gathering of issues to understand the happenings of the world, of the country at any given time. That is my interpretation of intelligence organization. Another problem with the intelligence is that they are so much beheld to the authority. I look ahead for the day when intelligence can look into the eyes of the president and tell him that he is wrong and the right way is this. This is so because by the very nature of the intelligence, whatever discussions they have with the president is never known. You see, if you tell the president the truth before people, just like Reverend Sifuna did by saying that tunatetea serikali lakini a lot of our players are handballing. That is what I'm trying to say, is that intelligence have the privilege that whatever they discuss with the president or the government, it is never disclosed anywhere, and it has no element of embarrassing the president the way Sifuna talked about handball. The other problem we have with the intelligence is that Uh, they felt beheld to the president or the political whatever because of they felt that they are beheld to the political wishing because Uhuru Moigai Kenyatta spoiled the intelligence by allocating them senior positions elsewhere. You'll find that the intelligence were now being, there is an intelligence officer who was made the director of public prosecution. There was another one who was made in charge of corruption and so on and so forth. So Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta made them believe that they have wider openings for their promotions. And with such type of people, there was a need, with such type of people, there was a need to bow down to the president. They felt that pleasing him would guarantee them promotion even out of the branch. The world has changed and we cannot get back to Opio days. So for a person who has been the Secretary General of the Kotu for 21 years, wishing that we go back to the Opio days, the world has changed and we can never get back to that. William Samoei Ruto is one president who would quickly accept recommendation from NIS in the usage of high-handedness, and that is quite unfair, especially when we look at the issues that had to do with the Gen Z. Now let us look at social media. Social media is a revolution that can never be reversed. Never, never again. Uh, it has more goods than bad. My opinion is that the government should embrace and take it to the next level. Someone once said, someone once said that if you cannot beat them, you join them. Someone once said that if you cannot beat them, join them. So I would request the government to embrace social media. It should embrace social media so that it can be taken to the next level. I have discussed social media issues with senior security officers, and most of them are shocked that it is there. In fact, they would be emphatic. Uh, they would be emphatic. They would be euphoric. I'll repeat that. I have discussed social media issues with senior security officers, and most are shocked that it is there. In fact, they would be euphoric should a way be found to ban social media. Social media has really employed a lot of people, including me. And not only that, a lot of younger people who should have gotten a job elsewhere uh, are getting their pay from social media. What we should do is embrace it and utilize it. But then the way I see and the way I talk to them, they even wonder why it should even be there in the first place. Concerning Gen Z, I think that is a generation that is thick-headed. I think this is a thick-headed generation that even surpasses the Kinyikeu age group of the Bukusu by far. This is a generation. This is a generation that can I call it caste or anything? I think that one is something that I would say so. Sometimes I blame Kibaki over the Gen Z. If you look at people from other generations, they suffered by being chased away from school for lack of fees. When you are chased away, they saw their parents looking for fees and appreciated their elders. But Gen Z, they used to go to school free, and they grew up thinking that they are entitled to anything and everything. Uh, to them, they can only be corrected by a fellow Gen Z and nobody else, especially to the people who are older than them. To them, everything starts and ends with them. Their debates are so mixed with abusive language, especially to the elders. One even had the audacity to tell me that I belong to a generation that allowed, yes, I'll repeat it. He said that I belong to a generation that allowed Moi to misrule. I just wish that young boy watched a movie on Nyayo House and studied the characteristic of Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. He would never say that. One is tempted to wish that Moi regime be subjected to them for even a month so that they get the feeling of how Moi regime was. Our generation never asked our elders as to why they let the British to overrule them and to overrun them and overrule them. We never questioned that. We respected them and we knew that they came before us and they are superior to us. We should never we should never tire of trying to cancel the Gen Z. We will try, even if we find it difficult and find it a bit hard to succeed, but we will try. It is difficult. It is the difficult that we celebrate when we convince them. I mean, we shall try. It is difficult, and we shall try to convince them. And we will celebrate should we succeed, even if it is by the smallest margin. There is always a young generation at any given time. We had YK 92, Youth for Kanu 92, etc., etc. Every generation came with that. And every generation, when it comes with a mioto, a lot of fire, as if the whole world. After staying for about 3 to 4 years, they then surrender themselves to the tribal cocoon. It is not even 1 year since the Gen Z of June demonstration. Is it? It is not even 1 year. But you can see those who are leading the Gen Z demonstration, those who are counted to be the leaders, have already identified themselves with the older politicians and have been convinced or converted. So this one, it has already started. Another thing that you see, somebody said, your weakest point is your strongest point. The GC one thing they discovered, which YK92 and others did not discover, was identifying leaders, particular leaders, was like marketing them, making those leaders start looking for cash and whatever. Of course, this the Gen Z came up with even though they wanted to be leaderless and whatever, but we have a few names that can be mentioned. Look at those few names where they have gone. Um, so the biggest two problems with the Gen Z was, one, they did not have a leader, and two, the only thing was reject, reject. They did not even care to find about an alternative source of idea or even whatever. It is like a, what do you say, a mathematics teacher who just marks you wrong, 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 everything. Why don't you even come up with you see, we have things, we have two people. We have an optimistic and a pessimistic. Pessimistic is always looking for wrong things, and optimistic is looking for the right thing. Why don't you come up with the alternative? If we have had, they say a good idea gives way to a better idea. Why don't you come up with better ideas of handling things, whatever they are? I I also had forgotten something where ATWOLI had said that the government should control social media. Moi tried, but it is like stopping a wave. There's a time, when you had mails and anything from across, when they were at the post office, there were some people who were expert in opening and reading through the mail to see if it had subversive things, especially to people who are not on good terms with who are not in the government's good books. But then there came a machine that was called telex machine. Telex machine went ahead of Moi, and what Moi did, he said, without any proof, that the telex machine and the new type of clandestine literature that was being used to overthrow his government. So you bought a telex machine and Moi overtaxed you. And in fact, when I say overtaxed you, that is an understatement. I should look for a stronger word. So things like social media, we let us embrace them, but let us learn to cancel. These kids are hard, but let us just cancel them. If out of 1,000,000 we can convince 1,000, so be it. They will outgrow their young age and they will return to normalcy. Then 12 to 20 years down the line, a new young group will crop up. And it's my wish that generally be better than than all past age groups. It is my dream that the generation that comes after Gen C becomes better than Gen Z, better than all other generations that are recorded in our history. Those are my few remarks on the unfortunate comments that were made by the ever-present Secretary General of COTU, Francis ATWOLI.